What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sports Report. I'm your host, Emily Peters, and I hope you guys are all staying warm out there. Best wishes for a happy and healthy holiday season. I know I am ready for this cold weather to warm up a little bit. I'm not super into it. It's nice for a little bit, but I think it's overstayed its welcome at this point. So I'm ready for it to go away. I hope you guys are staying warm. Today on this episode, we are going to hear from Jarrod Hickman. He's the head coach of Florida High, one of the longest tenured, one of the most respected coaches for sure in this area. He has been the head coach at Florida High for almost 20 years now. He took over for his father actually in 2005. So he's been around this program for a very long time. In fact, it just runs in his blood. And it's so funny. For one of the games we had of them this year, I was, walking around the sideline and a lady came up to me and we were chit-chatting and I was like, "Oh, are you one of the moms?" And she said, "Oh yeah, I'm his mom." And she pointed to Coach Hickman and I said, "Oh, so you are the mom." And she was great. She still goes around and takes pictures for the team, and they're great. They do a phenomenal job. And Coach Hickman is a really great leader for this team. He was great for me to work with. So thank you to Coach Hickman. We had 2 of their games this season. First one, we traveled out to Gadsden County, and I teased that there was a bit of a story for that one last week. It poured rain by the finish of that game. If you aren't familiar with the Friday Night Rivals games, we do a trophy ceremony at the end. It's a big ordeal. The kids love it. They get a trophy. Whichever team wins gets the trophy, and Florida High won. So, as the clock is ticking down, they're taking timeouts. It's a classic case of like the last 2 minutes take a very long time. The rain just starts to pick up. Ben and Eric in my ear are like, "Oh, wow, it looks like it's really starting to pick up down there." I confirm, yes, it is. And just by the time the clock hits 0, it is full on monsoon. When I tell you, oh my gosh, the sky just completely opened up. So we're doing this trophy ceremony. I'm whacking the team with my umbrella. It was an ordeal. Getting out of that parking lot was not super fun. But our second game that we had was against Lincoln. And that was a crazy ending as well, except it was a much closer game. Lincoln went for the 2-point conversion to tie it. Last play of the game didn't happen. Florida High took that one. They were off to the playoffs, and it was a thriller. It was a great way to end our season. They ended up going 10-3. They lost, unfortunately, in the 3rd round of the playoffs to, let me check my notes, Pensacola Catholic. So, it is what it is, but they had a very good season. All things considered, lots of injuries this season. And even if you don't follow high school football super closely, if you're a Florida State fan, you probably know this name, Mekhi Danzy. Fantastic running back, one of the most dynamic playmakers in the entire country. He went down about mid-season, and just a heartbreaker for the team for sure. When you lose a guy like that, obviously it's going to affect the team. But they had a lot of guys step up too, and amongst their O-line, a lot of guys went down. And I spoke with Coach Hickman, and he said, it's more of a matter of moving guys around, moving the puzzle pieces, than, kind of putting in some more depth and getting some different guys in there. So, they worked it out. They had a pretty good run. Round 3 of the playoffs, obviously it's a bummer. But Florida High always is a team that you look out for. They are consistently very strong. A lot of thanks to Coach Hickman and his consistency with the program. And he's going to talk a little bit about that in this interview. So I will no longer ramble about it. I will go ahead and play it for you. Here is head coach of Florida High, Jarrod Hickman. Will you just kind of tell me a few of the players that are kind of standing out to you right now, and kind of just, the makeup of your team?
We bring a good handful of kids back from last year's state championship runner-up team. So that was always exciting for us. A lot of those guys that stand out are obviously Makai Danzy, who's a Florida State commitment at running back. Ashton Hampton, who's a Clemson commit, probably one of the better two-way versatile defensive backs and receivers in the country. Mark Faircloth, who's our left tackle, pretty heavily recruited offensive lineman as well. So, but we also bring back our starting quarterback, Jeremy Johnston, who started every game for us last year and did a great job. So, trying to think some underclassmen. Josiah Broxton's playing, outstanding. He's a returning starter at linebacker. He's a junior, rising junior this year, doing a really good job. So, those guys, there's obviously a few more. It's a good senior class. Keyshawn Inman, Tyson Floyd, White Crosby, Colin Bishop are all guys that all started for us a year ago that are doing a really good job.
Yeah, and I definitely want to talk about those two ACC commits. I have those two written down. But like you said, it is a very experienced team, and you bring back a lot of experience. Do you feel like this team is playing with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, just the way that last year kind of played out?
Yeah, I think that they're learning to navigate their way through being a team that's highly sought after a lot. I think that's the next thing for this group to understand. These guys play hard. They do a really remarkable job, but everybody, as we've said, kind of for our class, we've been everybody's Super Bowl. And, you have to learn to practice and get ready for those expectations week in and week out. So, we think we got a really good group, but we kind of let one slip away from us week one. But it was a great learning point for this group, and they've really been really good these last few weeks.
For Makai,
yep.
Obviously this is a kid he's fast, he's a game changer, and he's an athlete. But a lot of these guys that are being recruited heavily, there's more to them. It's their character. It's kind of the kind of kid that they are. So what makes him stand out off the field?
Yeah, you touched on it. His character, he's a remarkable teammate. He cares about winning. It doesn't matter how we win. If he's got to block, if he's got to catch the ball, if he's got to do whatever he has to do to help our team win, those guys in the locker room would tell you how much they respect him, just as a friend and as a teammate. And I think that's heavily important when you get a lot of accolades and you get a lot of attention. How you are in that locker room really is what matters most, and certainly matters most to our team. And he's a remarkable teammate.
Ashton has committed to Clemson. I know, you guys are the Seminoles, so I'm curious what this dynamic is. Is he, what is his story?
He's the son of a coach's kid, so I think he's one of the highest highest IQ football kids I've been around. We've had some really high ones, and so it really had nothing to do with that. I think it just had to do with what was the best fit for him. And his dad being a professional coach and being the head coach at a university as well. I'm sure they really had a lot of good conversations about what was going to be the best fit for him long term, and he felt like Clemson was going to fit him really good. So, that's where he was most comfortable.
I think that's also just kind of the alumni and me talking because, as a Florida State person, it's like, Clemson, sure. come on, like anywhere else, come on.
Yeah, it's never an easy decision with those kids, but they do a good job. Like I said, he grew up in a family where it was, really important for him. His brother's a college player right now too. So, I think he got a lot of insight to, making sure he made the best decision for himself.
Right. And at the end of the day, they're playing at the next level, and that's huge. So that's an accomplishment in itself.
Absolutely.
So last season, I want to talk to you a little bit about Gadsden County because obviously they didn't have the best season, and you guys won 42-0 under Coach Ellington. Now it seems like there's been a big shift. What have you seen from that team?
Well, I think that you're right. They're a totally different team. I think that they're 25 plus players different than what they were a year ago. So I competed against Coach Ellington last year when he was at Monroe, and he does a really good job coaching those kids and getting them to be in the right places. So, They're a much different Gaston County football team, like you said, than they were a year ago. So they're playing better. You can see that on film. He's done a good job. His staff's done a good job. So we have to make sure that really we kind of control what we can control, and honestly worry a little bit about ourselves. The Perkins kid is a game changer too. He's a really good running back. So we have to do a good job of not trying to give them any big momentum plays, and at the same time being really sharp with what we want to do offensively.
Now, going back to your team during the off season, I know that's a huge time for clubs and camps and all of those kinds of things. What kind of things did you guys do to strengthen your team?
I think just a lot of what the other people do. We spend times at the 7-on-7s to make sure our pass game is continuing to grow. Kids went out and we went and helped them to get recruited at the camps and those things too. But our guys have always done a really remarkable job of making sure that it didn't interfere with our summer commitment and our summer workouts. And we really had an outstanding summer. And hopefully those things pay really good dividends down the road.
Is there anything that you guys do during that time too to kind of bond as a team and kind of get to know each other more?
Yeah, we actually have something we call Fun Fridays, and we try to do something extremely fun on Fridays, whether that's go bowling, spend some time, outside of football where we hang out and do certain things. So absolutely, I think that chemistry is always super important. And but a lot of our kids grow up together, know each other. They've been here either through elementary or middle school, all the way into high school. So we have a pretty tight group, and again, I think that shows up on the field.
Right. And I mean, like you said, those kids grow up together. And something else that I feel like is so consistent for your program is you yourself as the head coach. You've been there for a long time now. We've had a few teams on here with coaches in their first or second years, and it's tough to establish a program, but I think it's just as tough for, someone like yourself to have the consistency that you have. So what is your approach to accomplish that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're super proud of that consistency. It's one of the things that we're most proud of. I've got outstanding assistant coaches. I think 4 of my assistant coaches have been with me almost the entire time that I've been the head coach, in this entering my 19th season. So that's really important. Those guys do a remarkable job. And I think we've just tried to be very consistent with the kids. I think they appreciate the consistency of who we are and what we do on a daily basis. And we've had a lot of really good players and a lot of really good teams. And so we just are extremely proud of the consistency where we've done almost every single thing you can do except for win the darn thing. And so hopefully we can keep pushing to try to give ourselves opportunities.
Yeah. And I mean, so talking about coaching too, are there any coaches maybe at the collegiate or even professional level that you find maybe not necessarily you're trying to imitate because you're your own person, but do any coaches kind of inspire you?
My father worked under Coach Bobby Bowden. And so that's a lot of where, my coaching background began, and getting to watch, my dad, getting to watch Coach Bowden and just, formulate that. But I certainly have tried to take bits and pieces of people that I've had a chance to learn under, whether that's, been around Coach Saban, and as a high school coach, you get a chance to be around and visit with a lot of people. And I certainly have, respected all that Coach Saban has done anywhere he's been, all of those things. I mean, getting a chance to meet Coach Norvell these last few years, and what he's done, such a quick turnaround, has been remarkable. And picking his brain a little bit, so and Kirby Smart, I've known Coach Smart for a long time. He's the son of a coach's kid, a high school coach's kid too. So, I've tried to take bits and pieces of everybody, but like you said too, also be my own person within that, and try to just be as consistent as we can be on a daily basis.
Just a couple more fun ones, and then I'll go ahead
Sure.
and let you go. But do you guys have like a team motto this year?
I think our team motto, and one of the things I talked about our team in the spring was talk less, do more. I think everybody knows what our goals are, and where we're trying to be, and what we're trying to accomplish. But saying it over and over again, posting it or whatever in this day and age doesn't get it done. It's what you do that's going to matter. That's going to help us get there.
Nice. And then I know it's an away game, and I know kids are a little bit different this year. I was on the dance team in high school, so whenever we had away things, or if we were ever traveling, we
Yeah.
had some fun things we would do on the bus, just as a team for fun. And I know kids are kind of on their phones and on the headphones a lot, but is there anything that you guys do for away games?
No, I mean, we have a routine, that we try to, again, stay pretty consistent with. And so, after our meal, after we get over there, we'll have a walkthrough. But, it's a pretty focused group and a group that's been in a lot of games. So they'll have their music on and those things that we try to keep to. They'll be pretty locked into what we're trying to do.
Nice. And then last thing, when you are in a huddle with your team and you're like, hey, we need to fight right now, what is your message in those moments?
Play. We talk so much about, creating that adversity in practice and those kind of things too. But when it comes time for the game, they just, each one of them has a job they have to do. So they've got to play and really play the next play as its own game. I mean, every play is a game, and then you've just got to continue to play. If it's 150 snaps, play that game one play at a time. So I don't think it's, I'm not a person who likes to change or try to, go crazy motivation. They just have to play the next play. And whatever that play presents will be, we've got to execute. So just play the game, have fun. We talk a lot about, don't look at the scoreboard. You get real trouble if you start scoreboard watching and worrying about the time and worrying about the score. Play one play at a time. And so worry about that next play and all that you can do there. As soon as that one's done, move on and go to the next one.
Simple as that. I love it.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. It was great to talk to you, and
Absolutely.
I will see you on Friday.
Sounds great. Look forward to it.
All right, so another huge thank you to Coach Jarrod Hickman for letting us crash a couple of your games, especially that one last minute when we had to reschedule a game for the last week of the season, and also just being so generous with your time. I really appreciate it, and I just appreciate you being so great to work with. So shout out to the Noles. Go Noles. Definitely easy to say that as a Florida State person. But next week, I have Russell Ellington, head coach of Gadsden County High School. I had a great conversation with him ahead of their game, so definitely be on the lookout for that one. And looking ahead, I have some really exciting interviews planned for some in-person ones, real time, coming up once I finish with these high school head coaches. So I am extremely excited for those. I hope that you guys are too. Definitely stay tuned for that. I'm thinking I'll get to start those around, the beginning of January. So I'm pumped. I'm so excited. But anyway, that's all for today. So thank you again for listening. This was the Sports Report.